Hey everybody, we're talking about my new book, God, Where Are You? I felt so compelled to write this book because so many right now are in a wilderness season and they're just going, what is going on in my life? What is the wilderness? It is when God seems like He's a million miles away and His promises are even further. If you look at the people of the Bible, people like Job, he went through a wilderness season, but he was twice as blessed at the end. If you look at Joseph, he's told he's going to be a leader. His brothers would bow down to him, but he goes through a 12-year refining process. If you look at Moses, he knows he's called to deliver Israel, but yet he ends up spending 40 years on the backside of the desert. If you look at David, he gets anointed to be the next king of Israel. He gets to come into Saul's court, and all of a sudden now he's living in caves and wildernesses and deserts. I could keep going on with Jesus, John the Baptist, and many others. Let me tell you this right now, dear friend. I'm telling you, the first two times actually God brought me into a wilderness, I really believed I had sinned. I had believed that I was being rejected by God. I thought at times I was being put on a shelf. Let me tell you, I'm going to say it so you hear it, okay? You're not being rejected. You're not being punished. You are not being put on a shelf, okay? You are not abandoned either. I want to make that very clear. Job felt like he was abandoned by God, but God was working on his behalf. The wilderness is a time of preparation. It is a time where He gets out of your life what would destroy you later. I remember back in the mid-1980s, I was in a church. Jesus appeared in a service. 800 people saw it. He left His face imprinted on the back of the church. It looked like the Shroud of Turin. People came to look at it for a year and a half. It was on our wall, 8 feet high, 6 feet wide. It gradually phased out. We had ambulances pulling up to our church. We had 8,000 people in our church. The paramedics would wheel them up. That person would get healed, and he would push his gurney out. I'm the pastor's assistant. I know this is real. This isn't fake. I watched people with canes walk in, but there was something that disturbed me. I picked up the guest speakers. I took them to dinner. I got them at the airport, at the hotel. The things that I heard in my vehicle were alarming sometimes. I was like scared. I was like, how can they be talking and acting like this? Then these same people would get on the platform. God would do miracles, and I was blown away. I would watch people get out of wheelchairs, and I knew these were authentic miracles. And so God spoke to me in the midst of this because I was confused, and He said, son, He said, I have given my church a thimbleful of my power to see how she'd handle it, to see if she'd make money off of it, market it, use the power to draw people to herself, or if she would glorify me. We didn't handle it well. So God said, I'm going to bring my church prophetically into a wilderness and develop her character. Well, let me share this with you. We've been in that wilderness, and in my spirit, I feel like we are about to come out. And if you look at Jesus, Jesus didn't disobey God. God sent Him into the wilderness. For 40 days He was tempted of the devil. And when He came out of the wilderness, the Bible specifically said He went in filled with the Spirit, but He came out in the power thereof. I believe that when we come out of this time period that we've been in prophetically as a church as a whole, we are going to see the power of God manifested like we have never seen. This earth has never seen before. I believe it will actually exceed the book of Acts because God said, I saved the greater for the latter house. So I want to say this. Stay with me. I wrote this book to keep you ready for this season that you're in so that you don't do what Israel does and fail, but you do what Jesus does. You come out in the power thereof.